Rodney Stone is the executive producer for this exciting new movie, world premiere here at the Lake of the Ozarks, The Last Ride. And Rodney's been a real supporter of the Hope House, along with ProStar Auctions, in which I'm the managing principal. And at our August event for the Hope House, Rodney and I were talking and decided to have the world premiere right here at the Lake of the Ozarks and have the beneficiary of the Hope House. We've had a lot of people that have chipped in to make this possible. Obviously, the movie theater, Warrenburg Theaters out of St. Louis, when they found out that we wanted to do a world premiere, they've never had one here at the Lake of the Ozarks, and they jumped on board and said, we want to be part of it. We've had a lot of local people down here that have helped out, Anderson Marketing, Lake Printing, Tantera, Casa de Loco Winery, Budweiser. I can go on, but there's a number of people within the community that jumped on board and said, hey, world premiere here at the Lake of the Ozarks, we're excited about that. In addition to that, the Hope House, which helps a lot of needy people here in this community, they want to do everything they can to continue to raise funds for the Hope House. The need has never been greater.
Benji Gaither, who is the producer of this film, he came to us and said, man, I've got a movie that takes place in 1952 about Hank Williams, and it's the last 48 hours. And the involvement immediately was Harry Thomason wanted to direct it, and we were all thrilled about that. And Benji, if you know anything about Benji Gaither, he's a get-her-done guy because of who his father is and the background and nature of anything that he puts his hands to, it gets done. Bill Gaither, his father, says, I've always wanted this story to be told about history and Hank Williams. So we're covering a lot of history tonight.
Right. Well, Hank, I mean, such a legendary, bombastic figure, you know, as Hank Williams. You kind of had to, we sort of opted not to go with the traditional biopic route. We focused on these last 3 days of his life to really, you know, focus more on the person instead of the legend. And Jet Williams, his daughter, saw it and was just in tears, really happy, saying, you know, you guys finally got it right. Somebody finally got my dad. It's right, the spirit of it. And so yeah, and also the whole vibe of the 50s and everything. We kind of tried to give it that whole feel. So I play Silas, the driver. Poor kid, wrong side of the tracks. Doesn't own a radio, so doesn't know who Hank Williams is. Works as an auto mechanic, and he gets hired to drive Hank to these few dates that he's got scheduled. And so the whole film is really just kind of about their relationship and how, you know, it's this young kid on his way up and this old, you know, this not an old man, but this guy on his way out, and just sort of their relationship.
I'm friends with Howie Klausner, who is a script writer. We've been friends, and we were working on different projects together. And what happened was he, you know, in the process of our talking, he sent me a script, said, hey, I want you to help me produce this. And it was and I said, what's it about? He says, last 3 days of Hank Williams' life. Right away, I was intrigued. I printed it off that night and read it and fell in love with the script. I loved it for two reasons. Number one, it was not a biopic. It was a kind of an account of the last 3 days of Hank Williams' life. It was actually more about the driver, which I thought was great. And I fell in love with the two characters, the driver and Hank Williams, kind of, you know, and nobody really knows what happens on that trip other than the driver, which they interviewed. But I loved the story. It was a great story. It was a good, you know, fiction piece / reality. So I sent it to my friend Harry Thomason, he was a mutual friend of Rodney Stone and myself. He's from this area. And Harry loved it, said, I want to direct this. Let's get going. And so that's kind of how the whole thing started. We started, you know, raising money, and then we produced this film on a shoestring budget. The music was a breeze. The music was easy. I loved working on the music. I did the score, of course, down in my basement. Everything I did was through my basement. I, you know, kind of programmed on my keyboard and did as much as I could. Then I went to Nashville and put real strings and, you know, real instruments on it. I feel like I caught. My goal was to catch the essence of the picture, not without being depressing. Of course, we all know he dies at the end, so it's like, you know, I didn't want it to be a, you know, death march. At the same time, I didn't want it to be up, so I was going more for haunting and, you know, introspective, and I think that works well with the 1950s, 40s music that's going on in the piece. So you know, they invited me to come here to kind of screen the movie in the Lake of the Ozarks. Now we're not premiering. We're not coming here in October. We're going to select markets in October, mostly in Alabama, Louisiana, and Arkansas, where we shot it all in Arkansas. So we're opening there October 21st. But we wanted to give a little premiere since Rodney Stone is from here. We wanted to give a little premiere to the people, you know, that we've become friends with and acquainted with, and that helped in making this picture. We had a lot of help from Lake of the Ozarks, so we wanted to kind of give back to them and say, hey, this is what y'all got involved in. so hopefully they won't be disappointed.
I wonder where you are. I'm so lost.